Namaste.
Namaste, sir. Namaste.
I welcome Professor Dr. Nithyananda to the IIMT Open House, where we interview various professors and academicians as well as industrialists and entrepreneurs for the career guidance of the students. Let me introduce Dr. Nithyananda formally. Dr. Nithyananda is a faculty member in the General Management area at the Indian Institute of Management, Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. He earned his PhD in IPR and its management from the National Law School of Indian University, Bangalore. At IIM Trichy, he teaches courses on legal aspect of business, legal aspect of marketing, legal aspect of technology management, and legal aspect of entrepreneurship. He has created and taught the flagship course, Strategic Management for Intellectual Property Right at IIM Trichy for more than a decade. He has also taught his course at finance for the last 10 years and also taught this course at Singapore, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and USA and many other countries. With this, I invite Dr. Nithyananda to this program, and he has contributed a chapter in the book Evolving Careers in Management, which is edited and under the IIMT book series on management. So we are trying to educate the newcomers who are joining the management stream. And in our effort, we bring out each year one book under the IIM lecture note on management. So he has contributed a chapter on intellectual property right, and it's business study in business study. So I'll be very brief, asking very pertinent question. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir. Sure. First of all, before we start, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to write this chapter, which deals with career opportunities in intellectual property management. Right. This is a new field. Not too many people are aware of what's happening in this field, what is this field, and so on. At least you gave me a platform where I can express my thoughts and ideas on this new emerging field, which is very pertinent for business organizations.
Right.
So I'd be happy to discuss with you on any aspects of this chapter, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let me straight away put forth one first question. What are intellectual property rights and why are they relevant to a business?
So, all of us know as business people and business professors that there are these products that a company makes or a service that a company makes, and they're sold for customers for earning revenue. Now, when every company is manufacturing the same kind of a product, then that the market will not be able to differentiate, and they'll say each product is substitutable with somebody else's product. For making sure that your product is attracted to the customer and they come back to you for a repeat consumption, you have to make your product very unique, and you have to make your product very customer friendly and useful. So this is where the innovation comes into picture. And when you innovate, what happens is this might be customer friendly, this will attract, or this might attract customers. But if you don't protect those innovative features or innovative aspects of your product, then your competitor will copy that and make it a commodity. So to prevent that from happening, the government provides you these intellectual property rights in the form of patents for technology, trademark for your branding, your name, your logo, and so on. Then your color combination also. Then the copyright for your advertisements, the copyright for the brochures, copyright for your websites, copyright for your packaging, and so on. Then design for the shape and look of the product. Then your trade secrets that could be the way you open a laptop, the way the recipe is built in for your Coca-Cola or Pepsi or burgers and so on. So these intellectual property rights are statutory rights that are granted, except for trade secret, which is contractual. And then these are granted for a specific period of time, during which time you have to communicate to the customer that, boss, my product is new, my product is different from the competitor's product, and I've protected this under IPR. The government has approved my IPR. So nobody else can copy that. So for you to have this benefits of this product, come back to me. I will provide you with this product, which is unique, which is which is fulfilling your needs, and which is also comfortable to consume, and which is also having a very high standard of product. So for this, the customer is attracted. So the intellectual property rights help customers get attracted to product, and they also provide them with very useful features which they won't find it with competitors. And from this perspective, from attracting a customer to a product, to a particular feature, to a particular brand, to a particular design, the businesses have to invest a lot of money towards R&D, towards their marketing communication, towards their product design, and so on. And this makes their business more attractive to the customers. So from that perspective, I would say IP rights are very, very essential to a business, and it also contributes a lot to the valuation of a business, to the revenue of a business, and also to ensure that the customers stay with them for a longer duration of time.
Correct. Correct. So my second question is, how significant is the contribution of IPR to the business as on today?
So thank you for this question, because this is a very, very particular question. When we say businesses invest in IPR, the understanding is, yes, they've contributed towards R&D, they've invested towards R&D funding, and they start focusing on generating revenue, or at least they should start recovering those investments and also earn profits. For this, one of the things that everybody asks is, okay, how is IPR contributing to business? I'll come back to this question, answering to this question directly to a little later, but I would like to draw your attention to something tangential to this, and it might kind of answer the question in an indirect manner. There's this company called Ocean Tomo. It is a what do they do? They do a lot of consulting. They guide companies on securing their IP rights, managing their IP rights, negotiating on IP rights, and all kinds of things. But one of the fundamental things that they also do is research on IP rights across the world. So one of the reports that they bring out every year is the contribution of IP rights to a business organization. And they've been doing this for a very long time, I think about 15, 20 years or so. Now, one of the reports that they bring in, or one of the aspects of that report, is how valuable is IP to a business organization. In a recent report that they published, in fact, when they first started compiling this report, they found that the contribution of intellectual property rights to the business valuation roughly about 15 to 20%. When I'm talking about 1980s or 1990s. But today they've realized that it has been growing significantly, and it has 85% plus, which means about 80% or 85% of the valuation of a business is derived from IP. What do I mean by that? If you look at the tangible assets that is owned by a company, it could be land, buildings, and computers, and vehicles, and so on. It is just contributing about 15% of the value of the organization, value of the organization. But remaining valuation is coming from their technology, which is intangible, their trade secrets, which is where a substantial valuation comes from, their patents, which also generates not only the significant value addition for their business, but also contributes in terms of the licensing revenue, the significant additional profits that is earned, and copyrights and trademarks, because trademarks is differentiating the products from their competitors' product that gives them a competitive advantage. So all these put together, the Ocean Tomo company says roughly about 85% of a company's valuation currently is coming from intellectual property assets. So having said this, if this much value is coming from intellectual property rights, it becomes pertinent for everybody who's trying to get into a business organization to understand about how to manage this valuation and how this is supposed to be looked at from a business perspective. So I think to address your question, how significant is the contribution of IPR in a business? I think it is roughly about 85%. And this opens up a new career opportunity, which is for managing IP rights.
Correct. So you are very right that previously it was IPR was only 15%. Now people are evaluating it more than 80% or 85%. So
Yes, sir.
how significant are the career opportunity in IPR in India? IPR management.
Yes, sir. So this is a when you see that 85% of the valuation is coming from intellectual property assets, then the natural question is, how do I be part of an organization
Correct.
which deals with the IP assets?
Correct.
So there are lots and lots of opportunities that are open. For instance, one of the things that I've covered in my chapter is starting from how do you protect these IP rights? For example, how do you protect patents, trademarks, copyrights, designs, and the trade secrets? How do you protect them? There is an opportunity, but fundamentally, this is a career opportunity that is falling predominantly in the area of law, or IP lawyers deal with this matter. But once that protection is done, the management, how do you, because what happens is once these IP rights are protected or secured for the business, they need to be integrated in your product and services so that the customers know about it. And it should also be communicated. So how do you integrate that in your product? So IPR product management is one area. Then comes your IP due diligence. If somebody is trying to acquire a company, if somebody is trying to get into an M&A transaction, so they need to do IP due diligence. And this IP due diligence is not just about M&A transactions, but also at the time of whether we should go for securing it or not securing it. That again is a good open question. So for that also, you need to have people with those skills of understanding how do you integrate that into product, how do you secure those products, should we go into those products or services, is something that is open. Then IP audit. Once you get an IP done or IP right secured, and once you integrate that into your product and services, during the life cycle of your product, the product will be sold across different parts of the region. It could be in India or outside India. And you need to be auditing the IP supply chain or IP life cycle. Why? Because you want to know whether your competitors are copying those features into their products or not. So this, I find it to be very interesting, because I was interviewing the CEO of this company called Green Gold Ventures Private Limited. This is a company based in Hyderabad, and I think they are popularly, they're known popularly for their cartoon characters called Chota Bheem. So they were telling me that once the IP right is secured and sold, they have a dedicated team and they have deployed a separate organization to look at this IP audit. So every time, every city, they deploy these people, and wherever they go, they look at these products that are sold and see is there any competitor who's copying their features or selling those products with those features. That is one. And also in case somebody is trying to counterfeit their product. So this is also another feature that they do as part of the IP audit. Then IP product innovation and management. I told you how the IP rights have to be integrated into the product or services that are being sold by the company, and look at that. Then the most important part, according to me, is business models relating to IPR. And I'll tell you why. There's this Harvard professor called Henry Chesbrough. So he said, at least in one of his books, he writes in a footnote where he says IP right is nothing but it's a right to prevent others from copying the technology. So when that kind of
he's also the author of Open Innovation.
Exactly. In that book, Open Innovation, he makes this comment. So he says IP right is nothing but negative right. And until unless you build a business around it, you will not be able to generate revenue out of the IP rights. And for that, in order for you to make money make money using IP rights, you need to have a wall built around your IP rights. And this wall is nothing but your business models. For example, let's say you want to license your technology. You have secured a patent and you want to license it to others. So how strong is your licensing business model is determining how much revenue you'll be able to generate from your patent. So likewise, there are many business models. For example, you can use your patent or trade. For example, the Kingfisher brand raised about 9,000 crores just by pledging its trademark.
Correct.
And other companies like Vodafone and Dawat Rice, they've also raised a substantial amount of money by pledging their trademarks and patents and so on. So that is a business model. Likewise, you can issue bonds based on your IP rights. It's called a securitization of IP rights. Your sale of IP rights, your licensing, your royalty models, your sale and lease back. There are many business models that are available in the business model related to IP rights. So how do you design that? How do you understand that? How do you create that? Is a new career opportunity which is open. Then employment and HR practices, because most of these kind of created not by the founders themselves, but by their employees. So when their employees are creating, how do you protect these IP rights and how do you transfer these IP rights for the business, and how do you protect this for business organization is something that is opening up a lot of career opportunities for employees who focus on HR practices. Then data security and data protection. Why? Because most of these information related to the IP rights is stored on the data structure or information servers of the company, and how do you protect them is another challenge. Then comes information technology and managers, especially from the perspective of protecting trade secrets and technologies innovations from the organization or from the employees breaching it. Then comes advertising and marketing. Advertising and marketing, as I mentioned, it's about creating a product and communicating information about the product to the customers. So when you're doing this, how do you package it? How do you look at safeguarding that packaging from the IP perspective? And how do you manage this relationship between a company and the advertising agency? How do you communicate? How do you create a good advertisement which communicates about IP rights and also about the product special features? And so on is a career opportunity that's open in the field of advertising and marketing. Customer service, because if you create a product which is sold and the customer service department doesn't know how to address these issues when a customer raises a complaint, then the entire effort goes waste. So the customer relation or customer service management also needs the IP management and so on. And again, brand management, as I told you, the advertising relies on branding and the product communication. Branding specifically deals with the trademark management. So how do you package your entire product into a saleable product, and how do you combine this entire product and make it into one brand, and how do you manage this brand as a trademark protection, how trademark licensing, trademark communication, trademark designing, and so on. So that is covered under brand management. The IP valuation is again an area which is relevant especially in the case of IP IP securing M&A transactions and so on. Then IP negotiations and contract. This comes when you're dealing with your business models, licensing, and looking at contract management and so on. So how do you deal with that is an area which is developing very rapidly. IP consulting is where if you have got an exposure of all these career opportunities and you want to move out and become independent, you start an IP consulting firm.
Correct.
So there are these law firms which are getting into that. There are these management firms, management consultancy firms like KPMG, Deloitte, and PwC, which are getting into this IP consulting arena. So this is a very vast career opportunity, and many companies are looking for these kind of services. and opportunities so far.
Correct.
The related areas are also technology transfer and project management, especially when you're looking at when you're developing a new product or when you're developing new technology. How do you look at developing the IP rights? How do you look at protecting the IP rights? And how do you look at safeguarding it? How do you integrate it in your product? And how do you look at the transfer of this technology to somebody else? Or how do you look at the licensing this technology to somebody? Is looked at as a project management perspective, which deals with the entire ecosystem of developing a new product.
Correct. So I was supposed to ask you how the currently being managed IPR, but you have elaborated so nicely, and all the domains you have covered so nicely that it is no need to say ask the same question.
No, with that perspective, I have a very interesting perspective. What is happening is, though there are these various career opportunities that are available and built in for the IP management career opportunity, currently this is managed by very few people, and as in very few or people from very few backgrounds. One
Correct.
is obviously the lawyer. So the lawyer is currently focusing on that and know this IP field because it's a legal right, and they're trying to get into this forte. But unfortunately, law is only one aspect of it.
Yes.
So, for example, the contracting or securing or negotiating the license agreement. Only these three perspectives bring in the legal aspect of IP management. But beyond that, how to integrate that into a product is a product manager's perspective. How do you look at it from a branding perspective? A brand manager can say that. How do you look at a valuation? A finance guy can say that. How do you look at advertising and marketing? And a marketing guy or an advertising guy can say that. So currently, this is being managed by people who are predominantly lawyers and people who have passed out from IIMs or maybe who have global exposure or working for MNCs in this field, who have a management background. They are kind of dealing with this in a very
limited perspective.
Limited perspective. Limited perspective.
But it is not. It is a say creativity management is coming within say IPR.
Yes,
so that is a bigger domain.
Correct. So somebody who wants to develop, who wants to get into advertising and management, they also need to know the IP management perspective. So that is where the scope for each of these domains that I highlighted has an opportunity for people with IP also to specialize and become a super specialist in that field of advertising and management, specifically for IP or employment laws, specifically on IP, product innovation and management of IP. So that is where the current opportunity lies in, sir.
So I met one person, just a minute deviation. I met one person who was a designer for front end of a mobile for Samsung. So I was interacting with him. He is an architect. So we have a notion that architect only design building and say park and offices and roads. Then I asked what you are doing in. He told me that the design of different say screen that we are designing, and this is coming under IPR.
Correct. So, absolutely.
Correct.
Yes, sir. So the fields are getting very, very specialized.
Correct.
And just to perspective, somebody who's good in product management and IP rights and has some legal background, they are commanding a salary levels of 45 lakhs plus per annum. So that's like that's a huge amount. And I know a person who was managing a similar feature in Infosys, and Reliance gave him almost 100% jump by lakh rupees for Reliance. He worked with Reliance for a couple of years, and then he moved into KPMG, and there he was earning about crore plus. So that's a kind of including bonus. That's a C2C to the company. So looking at the perspective and the composition packaging that's available, I think there's an abundant opportunity that is opening up for managing career in the field of IPR.
Yes, thank you. So my next question is, what should the management student do to get into the career of IPR management?
Yes. So this is a very, very, what do you say, very fundamental question, which most And I'll tell you why. Because they say, yes, I know I'm a management student. I want to get into this MBA as my career opportunity, but I don't know this features. And for them, my suggestion would be try to find out some courses either online or offline, or maybe you can request your institution to organize some guest lectures or
Correct.
invite speakers who are doing these who are in this field, and give you an exposure of what is happening in those fields and how do you get into those fields. So for instance, somebody is trying to look at let's say finance. So how do you look at IP due diligence, and how do you do IP valuation and IP business model creation? So this is something that a finance guy who is specializing in IP rights can deliver. So you can invite certain people who are having this experience and get exposed to that area. So, likewise, this would open up a new career opportunity for you, and also keep looking for opportunities on LinkedIn and Facebook and even general companies databases, where they are opening up opportunities on these kind of niche areas. But apart from that, what else can also be done? While you're doing your MBA, try to get a course on IPR and IP management, so that you are aware of what is happening in that field. And you also have a hands-on experience on knowledge and exposure and experience in that field, so that when you are choosing career opportunities later on in your life and in your career, you are able to easily transition from being a basic manager, basic marketing executive, to a person who specializes in IP rights in the field of marketing. It is very easily doable, and it is not as difficult as it is thought out to be.
So I must tell you one thing here. I have
Yes.
attended workshops on IPR with different sessions, but I have never listened the domain you have covered. So it was only the IPR consulting. They usually visit different places, and they will tell that only this copyright, the patent, and they will cover only that much. But
Yes.
the domain you have given, the perspective you have given, it will be definitely benefiting to the student who are joining the management course. And also you have given hints to given tips how they can learn, how they can say take different online courses, and also the certification, so to get into this track. So Dr. Nithyanand, thank you for giving say very valuable inputs to the student who are say coming from the tier 2 management school, B school, and they do not have the opportunity to listen professors like you.
Oh,
Thank
please.
you, sir.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And anytime that you need any
Yes,
help on designing a course on intellectual
correct.
property rights, or anything else related,
Yes,
let me know. I'll be happy to help. And I also want to wish all the best to the students who are trying to take up these career opportunities. And in case they have any questions relating to how do you get into these kind of career opportunities, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to help them, and I'll also be happy to connect them to the right people in the industry who can help them transition into this field.
sure, sure. We'll be in touch with you. I am associated with various publishing houses and different organizations. We usually organize events each year on different tracks. So whenever we will have any kind of event related to the IPR, I will be definitely taking your help, guidance, and support. And it will be so we'll be planning say annual event. At least we can meet once or twice
Oh,
in a year.
definitely, sir. It'll be my pleasure. I'll be happy to come and meet you, sir. Thank you very much.